Welcome to Blake Street Banter, where one of us knows what the word banter means. The other two are just along for the ride. But before we get into those intros, we are going to just give you a little rundown of what the pod is going to look like and a quick ad read from our sponsors. But we are going to talk about the starting rotation and which 2024 draft class draft pick is going to have the biggest impact, the quickest impact on the major league squad. But before that, bring in daily controls. But first, thank you to our sponsor, Daily Controls LLC. Are you ready to perform and transform your industrial process into seamless symphonies of efficiency and precision? Look no further than Daily Controls LLC. Daily Control services include PLC programming, HMI design, vision inspection systems, robotic integration and programming, control panel design and fabrication, system integration, and troubleshooting and support. If your push buttons aren't blinking or your robots aren't cooperating, trust Daily Controls to get your equipment running smoothly. For more information, go to dailycontrolsllc.com or email info@dailycontrolsllc.com. There we go. Thank you, Mr. Daly, for all your support. Noah, what's up?
Hey, nothing much. I'm excited. We have a very special guest with us today.
Yeah, the chat's going to be quiet today. We are joined by a huge supporter of the pod, Mr. Brian. What up, MTNVF?
Not a lot. Just hoping that we don't get too much snow over here.
Is that just the life of the Northwest?
In Nevada, it's not so much, but yeah, it comes and goes.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen up there. But yeah, appreciate you. Like, you've been a supporter. You've been like an OG supporter, constantly in the chat, in the tweets, just engaging with everything. So definitely a huge shout out to you for that. And thank you for being our first guest of the off season. Like, this is going to be fun. This is something we're trying to get some fan community all up in it and just talk rocks, because it's gonna be bleak, fellas. We got Roki Sasaki to reported going to the Dodgers. Like, that's pretty much a done deal for a league minimum, because that's what it is, because he's leaving early. We got Juan Soto connected to 4 teams, one being the Dodgers, one being the Mets, one being the Yankees, one being the Red Sox. So essentially the Dodgers, World Series champion Dodgers, are going to get 20 times better by adding 2 just franchise chasing guys and aren't going to even hit the luxury tax. So is there hope on the horizons, Noah? Like, no matter what happens this offseason for the Rockies, like, no matter what we do we even come close to competing with the Dodgers?
Well, you're asking, is there hope for the Rockies? I'm saying, is there hope for the rest of the league? I mean, with what the Dodgers already have, adding all of this to a World Series that they won pretty handedly, man, it's going to be a really steep hill to climb for not only the Rockies, but everyone in the National League, and then whoever is unlucky enough to meet them in the World Series from the American League.
I am not looking forward to it. Like, it's like, what was it? Put it on the Blue Sky. We're on Blue Sky, y'all. So go find us, Blake Street Banter, on the Blue Sky. But I posted something about this, and a guy comes in like, what if we just combined all the forces of the NL West, the Diamondbacks, Giants, Rockies, and the other one, the Friars? Would we be able to create a team, Brian, consisting of those 4 squads that would compete with the Dodgers?
That's a great question. Their addition by subtraction is just ridiculous, and it is going to be a tough one. But we probably could compete, because they've only won 2 World Series in 4 years, but they haven't won one in a long time before that. And
that one was a Mickey Mouse World Series. I will stand on the top of the hill,
yeah.
Top of the mountain. That 2020 does not count, no matter what. It's right, but they've been relevant for so long. The NL West has been theirs for so long, and it's just, I don't know. Like, I was trying to do the process, but I think you go. I mean, the right side's locked in with Freddie and Mookie. Like, there's not a better first or second baseman in the West. You might get something in shortstop. Like, Doyle and Tovar might be the 2 Rockies guys on there, but Jackson Merrill just won a Silver Slugger as a rookie, so who knows there. Just a fun thought exercise. We'll see.
Yeah, and Ketel Marte just won a Silver Slugger too.
Yeah, and he's the second baseman, so I guess him and Mookie might be right on par, because I heard Mookie's playing second next year. But we can talk about the West, dog. We can talk about the West. We are here to talk about the Rockies. But let's start with you, Brian. Why are you a Rockies fan? Like,
I grew up in Montana, and Denver was definitely the closest town or closest team for me growing up. And we actually had a channel on our local TV that was through Denver, and I got to see a lot of Rockies games. And so I got really lucky. And my dad's an Orioles fan, but he hasn't been able to watch too many games over here on the West Coast.
Yeah, it makes it a little tough. I mean, it's a little bit easier now, but growing up, like that wasn't
Yeah.
even a thought, being able to do that. So what did you grow up like? Were you 1993 since the beginning on the TV, or did you a little bit late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, it was late 90s that I really started following the Rockies. I was always a Blake Street Bomber fan, and Dante Bichette was actually my very first favorite Rockies player, and because last name was always first in any article, I always thought Bichette was always a funny first name, but then I learned that Dante was.
That's fun. Yeah. Dante. Yeah. Bichette Dante. Switching it up. Yeah. That's the Blake Street Bombers is why I became a fan too. Like Noah was even a thought for his parents at that point. Like it's the Blake Street Bombers. Like, is there anything about the Rockies that gets you excited? Like it's going to be a long season. Like let's just prepare now. 2025 is going to be long. We just talked about the Dodgers and the rest, but like what gets us excited to watch the Rockies in April, right? Because there's hope. But like the dog days, June, July, Noah, like who are these Blake Street Bombers type people that you want to just tune in for?
Yeah, well, I think for the fan base, it all starts with playing meaningful games into August, because that's something that we haven't had in honestly a few seasons now. And the longer that you can keep your games meaningful, then all of a sudden it doesn't turn into the dog days of the season, but it actually increases anticipation with every day. I think the Rockies can compete towards the end of the season if they get a step forward from guys like Nolan Jones and Michael Toglia becoming more consistent. I really think that the duo of Ezekiel Tovar at short, Brenton Doyle out in center field, those two are now, they had Chuck Notto in recent years where it was Charlie and Nolan leading the way. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to come up with a duo nickname for themselves because they're going to be leading the team. And I saw Brenton's story today. He posted something about from rookie ball to now winning Gold Gloves together. That's what BD and Tovar have done. Yeah. So it's really encouraging to see that, but they have to get guys outside of them that can step up. And I think it starts with Nolan Jones and Toglia, as we mentioned, and we talked about in the podcast, I think just last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, agreed. Brian, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. We just need one or two more pitchers just to kind of step it up and stay healthy, and to go along with Tovar, Doyle, Toglia, and whoever they decide to put at second base.
That's gonna be a fun storyline this offseason. I agree. I'm low-key stoked about this arm barn. Like give me Jaden Hill, give me Seth Halverson, and give me Luis Peralta with already Victory V up there. Like you have some of these guys ready to go. I mean, Christian, you have your own show. Don't come in here and start Bradley Blaylock is the next big starter. We actually are getting into the starting rotation very, very soon. I agree, Christian, but you're gonna have to stay tuned in for why. But like the Blake Street Bombers, like what if like the Colorado Rockies just put like this Blake Street bullpen together, and then you're just going lights out 6, 7, 8, 9, all mostly homegrown. Victor, we can't really count, but like if you're doing this and like you're seeing piping 95 to 100 with crazy movement, that's going to be something like I want to see happen. I would love to see that. I don't know if Buddy's going to allow that because Buddy's going to Buddy, but I think that's what I'm kind of latching on to at the start of this 2025 season.
How about the Blake Street flamethrowers?
Blake Street flamethrowers, Blake Street bullpen barn. We can do some things with it. I would like the BSB thing to go along with it. We gotta coin that. Mike, start thinking of graphics for the Blake Street bullpen or barn, Blake Street arm barn. I don't know. If you have thoughts, put it in the chat. Go ahead and tweet it at us. What should we call the super bullpen of Rockies young cats coming in? But we just added to the bullpen, which I think is a low-key sneaky move. I know Christian talked about it on his pod yesterday. Jimmy Herget was signed by the Colorado Rockies. He is on the 40-man. I think we're up to 38 out of 40 on the 40-man roster. The what's his nickname?
The glitch, the human glitch.
The human glitch. Dude is just lanky all over the place. But I'm really leaning in on Tyler Pador's article on our website, shameless plug, BlakeStreetBanter.com. You'll see it on there. The amount of details he puts in this is absolutely insane. His arsenal, this is the thing that stood out to me. According to his Stuff Plus, Herget's curveball garnered a 128 mark. Remember, 100 is average since the start of last season. 32nd in MLB among pitchers with 40 or more innings. I mean, do the Rockies rank in any pitch at that point? Probably not. He threw a tighter slider, 106 Stuff Plus rating, has 2 fastballs to go along with it. But the interesting thing that Tyler points out is the slider and curveball have never been used in the same season. And he's got this fastball that's going to get good contact to lean into our defense that is Gold Glove all the way around. But I think, again, this development analytics department is finding some of these things in these guys that are going to mesh well. Luis Peralta, Bradley Blaylock, he was just joined the squad, where I think Jimmy is kind of fitting that mold. And I don't know what this is, but Jimmy in, Justin Lawrence out. I don't know, but I'm low-key excited about this move with Jimmy Herget.
Yeah, I think it's a breath of fresh air. As you mentioned, the step forward taken by the Rockies analytics department in recent seasons. And I'm glad that you brought up Lawrence towards the end there, because as you're reading through Herget's arsenal, I immediately thought of Justin Lawrence because, the human glitch, his whole thing is he fires from such a unique arm angle. And obviously you mentioned he's got that one disgusting pitch. Lawrence, when he came up to the bigs, was throwing 101 in Arizona in his debut and had that wicked sidearm slider. And then obviously, this most recent season, the Rockies had tuned him down to just about 92, 94 on the fastball. And then the slider still battled with command. I know James, especially, BSB's James, he would be up for the idea of Jimmy in, Justin out, because James likes to see a lot of pieces get moved around in the back end of the bullpen.
Yeah, James is like that. Is there an arm barn problem? Like, I think we're fighting. No,
I think it's a good, if you're going to frame it as a problem, I think it's a good problem to have all these young guys that you can plug in. I know newest BSB member Cameron, he wrote about the Rockies bullpen, and shout out Cameron in the chat. Welcome aboard. He wrote about just the fact that Seth Halverson took a big leap forward. And, you're getting these guys that they might put up pedestrian numbers in the minor leagues. And I'm not saying that Halverson did that, but you elevate a guy to Coors Field and you really, with the Rockies pitching at altitude, you got to go with the hot hand most of the time. And, having an abundance of guys that can get hot quickly is a good thing.
Yeah. Like exactly. Brian, you got anything to add to that?
No. I do hope that we do use more relievers, because we've been overusing a couple of guys the last couple of years, and I think we just need to get more guys involved to get that solidified, those last few innings solidified.
Yeah, like I'm worried that Buddy broke Bird. Like, he hasn't been the same. Justin Lawrence was used quite a bit. Like, the overusage of some of these guys is a little concerning.
Yeah.
But like Cameron also pointed out in his article, I kind of forgot about Lucas Gilbreth. Like, we got a strong lefty coming back, which will be interesting to see how he fits into the mold with everything coming along. But I think there's like you put in the rundown, Brian, like we're going. We didn't even talk about Angels TV, who is low key fire. He figured it out, whatever, after his little stint in the majors last year. You have Evan Justice, who was lights out in the Arizona Fall League, working on a whole new command, coming a little bit more up the top, but allowing more control to come with it. Anthony Molina could be a fifth starter, long reliever type mold who had showed great progress last year. Like, we almost have too many arms, right? None are like formidable, right? Like, you're not saying Seth Halverson's like a top 10 in the league, but like, he has the potential to be top 10. So does Victor Vodnik. So does Jaden Hill. So like, we haven't been able to say that for years. And what Luis Peralta put out there last year, like, there's zero reason to not think that he can't be a top 20, top 30 guy either. Like, when's the last time we've ever been excited? Like, since the super pen of 2012, 13, 14, whenever that was. Fuck Brian Shaw. But like, it's been a hot minute, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to reference. The super pen that included Wade Davis, Brian Shaw, and Jake McGee. That, gosh, that was an expensive pen that really didn't pay out. But it's good because these guys are young and they're affordable because you don't quite know what's going to happen, but all the potential in the world.
Yep. And Kristen's putting Jeff Criswell. I got some thoughts on Jeff. I think he's a starter. Like, I think he has the stuff to be a 5-inning starter to get you through the lineup twice. He's done it in the minors. He did it with Oakland before coming over. I think he could be fighting for that fifth spot. I think he starts as a long reliever. But I would love for the Rockies to lean into this experiment of 2025, see what we have, and throw Jeff as a starting rotation every once in a while. As soon as Freeland, Marquez, Cincy all go down again, at some point, they're old. No offense to them, but like, they're going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get hurt. Throw in Jeff Criswell.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Brian, what would you say?
No, I'll totally be down for it.
Like, it's there. Yeah, Whit Merrifield has some thoughts. I'm going to disagree with his thoughts too. All right, so I mean, that's leaning into the starting rotations. Like, that's the big part of this conversation, right? The starting rotation. It's the big question mark on the docket. We can only start 5. We know who 4 of them are. I think we all agree. Kyle Freeland. Everybody say yes.
Yes.
Herman Marquez.
Yes.
Okay, good. You're doing great. Cal Quantrell.
I hope so.
For the first couple months.
Okay. Oh, we got a trade in the works. Okay. And then Ryan Feltner.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And I would even put Ryan Feltner as like the number 3 right now. Yeah. Cincy coming back probably mid-July. You have Austin Gomber still on the docket. So the 5th starter is kind of up for grabs, but you have these guys: Austin Gomber, Bradley Blaylock, your boy Tanner Gordon. Noah Davis is no longer in the fold. He is a free agent, minor league free agent, which is super weird knowing that the Rockies need starting rotation depth, and he was clearly in the relief role. But that kind of upsets me that they let somebody with that much talent go. Hoping he finds a way, selfishly, back as a Rocky, but find somewhere to just go be a dog somewhere. But who is your 5th starter on opening day?
I mean, I'm less worried about opening day and more pushing that Dollander gets up as soon as possible. But opening day, I mean, they got out of the guys that you named, Rockies have 3 righties and 1 lefty in there, so it'd probably be Gomber. Just trying to balance out the equation. I doubt that the Rockies would go 4 righties and 1 lefty. But if they stick to their word, and the rumor is that they want to move on from B-Rod and Gomber this in the winter, then I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about the lefty-righties thing. That's Rockies like the diversity. You see that every once in a while. Brian, who's your guy? What's up, Grant? Thanks for hanging out, Doug.
I honestly wish we could probably bring up Palmquist, but it might be rushing him a little too much.
I think he's ready. I think time, what is it? The service time manipulation. I think what's the rule? They have to sit down there for April pretty much. It's not as bad as it used to be. It wasn't like Chris Bryant in 2010 when the Cubs like held him back for 2 months, even though he's ready. But there is some time, like the service clock doesn't quite start at a certain time. So that's going to be interesting with Carson, with Soley, with Dollander. That's why I don't think it's going to be one of those three. Next question. I got one coming up. I think Bradley Blaylock, Christian, is my go-to. Dude man had 6 starts last year for the Rockies. 4 of them went 5+. Obviously, not all went great. Some games got a little out of hand, some earned runs, some bad luck, but he showed a lot of growth in those starts. Just the fact that rookies going 5+ in 66% of his games for the Rockies is good.
And he played some tough teams in there. I know he got knocked around by the Diamondbacks once, but he pitched really well at Yankee Stadium on their legacy day. They had all the alums back, and the Rockies whooped up on him.
Yeah, and then his last 2 games were, I know he fought the Tigers in his last outing, who were hot for whatever reason. And then I think the Dodgers was before that. So he ran into some solid teams. So I think he's my money. If I'm putting down money, I'm putting money on Blaylock to be the 5th starter on opening day, with the idea that Cal or Austin kind of get traded in there. What does the rotation look like on the final day of the season?
Brian, I'll let you go first on this one, since I went first on the last one.
I'm hoping for a healthy season from Freeland and Marquez. I don't think Sensatella will crack the starting rotation. I think we might have to lean on him as a long relief guy. But I really didn't really think about the end of the year, just the start of the season.
Yeah, I threw that in there. You got to be ready at all times.
Yep, I'll be ready for the next curveball.
But I think your Carson Palmquist, I think he's on there. There's a 0% chance we don't have Dollander as a part of the rotation this year. Do you see Soley? Do you see the Wizard?
I think it would take an injury to Freeland or him to be gone for that to happen.
Yeah.
But I think I'm really hoping that this is the year for Feltner, that he just puts it all together, because on the road this year, he was fantastic. And then towards the end of the year, he was starting to figure out Coors Field. I know it took him until like July to get his first win of the season, which, that's not his fault. We didn't score runs for him. The Rockies didn't. But, gosh, he has all the stuff in the world to be an elite arm. And if he puts it together, we don't know what kind of Herman we're going to get. And
no,
Herman, that's my guy. I love him to death, but he's got to be healthy first. Availability is the best. What they say. There's a saying about that.
There is a saying. I thought I had it, but then it didn't make any sense as I was about to say it.
But
reliability is I don't know. I don't know.
But I hope that this is a year that Feltner really takes a step forward.
I mean, dude was a dog. What do we got here? September, October, OPS. Opponents were hitting OPS 479 against him. In July, 669. Had 28 walks in the month of July. No, 20 strikeouts. Looking at the wrong numbers right here, so it's not easy for me. But dude was the dog at the end, like you said, everything was just settling in nicely for him towards the end of the season.
And Buddy has always said with him, it's all about limiting the walks. Sometimes he tries to pitch too much or throw too much, and he would just like him to pitch. And sometimes he outthinks himself. I think Buddy once said during one of the pregame messages, and it's availability is the best ability. I figured it out.
There we go. Best ability. But I mean, to Buddy's point, isn't that every pitcher's crutch? Like, if you limit the walk, especially in Coors, you're going to be successful. That's what's made Freeland so good when he's not, I don't know, but it's not throwing like a little life nugget there. I think
That's baseball.
That's
You know, Buddy.
That's baseball. Like, I know I'm dogging on Buddy a little bit today, but like I don't think that's there. But like we heard Ryan Felton, I remember him saying it in spring training last year. He just like I just went out there and I threw. I trusted my catcher and I did what I wanted to, and my stuff was just good. It was kind of nice not thinking about it. And we've heard that Ryan Feltner is an overthinker. He gets in his own head a little bit and just being a little bit more free, leaning into it. If he can find that in it, I think he can be that number one guy for the Rockies, leading the charge of a Dolly, Soley, and a Palmquist. Like, fire me up with that, like 100%. Like, that'd be great. And then you throw in a Marquez Freeland as a 5-starter. You're cooking. You're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting. Like Christian loves catchers. Who do you think is the starting catcher by the end of the season? It's Drew Romo.
Okay, yeah, I was going to go on that too, because for Rockies fans' sake. For the Rockies' sake, they need it to be Drew Romo.
So what makes Drew Romo not the catcher at the end of the season?
I mean, he's got to be a factor with the bat more than he was this year. I don't look, they honestly showed patience with Tolia more than I thought they would in the past, because he was striking out a ton, but then he was hitting a homer like every 14 at bats, like leading the league. So they finally were like, all right, well, we'll just cut our losses with the strikeouts. Romo's going to have to bring some pop if he's going to have that much swing and miss in his game. And I mean, I just hope that this is a crucial offseason for him. The Rockies like to give their guys a taste, have a full offseason to kind of process what they got, and then hopefully this upcoming season he's ready to take that leap forward.
What are you going to add on to that, Brian?
I hope Drew Romo kind of has like a Miguel Olivo, like patience with the bat and just leading all catchers in triples, because the kid can run, but he's got the pop to go with it too. So I hope he can find those gaps and just be a extra base monster like Tovar was this year.
Yeah. He has that. I don't know. The home runs aren't going to be there. He might be a 15 homer guy. It's kind of what I predicted Tovey to be. And the average is going to sit around 250. The strikeout rate is going to be around 20. I'm going to say 28%. You can mark it now. Put that in your little notebooks, listeners. But it's going to be, I'm going to say like what is it? The OPS plus. It's going to be right around like an 88, 89, 90 at the end of the season. And I think you're comfortable with that if you're a Rockies fan for the franchise catcher.
Yeah, absolutely. And if he plays the defense that we know he can play, it'll be interesting to see how he throws this upcoming season, because I know they're working a lot with him on just getting kind of the yip hitch out. But, I mean, the dude can steal strikes behind the plate, and Buddy loves veteran catchers. And if Romo can start showing those veteran traits that where you're helping your pitcher, then that'll score him some Buddy points.
Who's the backup catcher then? Because right now it's just Hunter Goodman and Drew Romo on the 40-man at the catcher position. Willie McIver is no longer in the system. He's a minor league free agent, ranking for Team USA. I don't see the Rockies bringing him back. I see him going somewhere else. He can be a starter like Carlos Perez was for the Oakland Athletics, like easily. I can see him going down to Miami and starting. So I don't think he's coming back from Colorado. They just lost out on Travis d'Arnaud, who signed for $6 million a year for 2 years with the Halos. Like, is it Jacob Stallings coming back? Or is it Elias Diaz coming back? Like, who is the second catcher? I guess in the middle of the season in July, who's the second catcher?
Brian, I'll let you call your shot on this one.
I think if we want to get him some at bats, I think it's got to be Hunter Goodman.
Yeah, we're here for that. Your mom's favorite player, Blake Street Banner Train, full steam ahead. I think it will be Jacob Stallings. I think that he elected free agency smartly. Get a little bit of a pay upgrade. Then he'll be back in purple.
I agree with both of you. We're gonna have three. We're gonna beat three. I don't know. I've said it before. I'm nervous about what they did to our boy Hunter at the end of the season. I don't know what that means for his future. Yes, he's the only catcher on the 40-man, but obviously they're going to sign a catcher. What does that mean for Hunter Goodman going into the future? That freaks me out a little bit. I don't know. Maybe he was just sent down to play catcher. Maybe Mike can get on that. How many times did Hunter Goodman play catcher when he got sent down to Albuquerque? Really interesting. But while he looks that up, Brian, what is your favorite Rockies moment of all time?
My favorite moment is definitely a weekend that I had in July and back in 2010. I got to see an MLB record on Friday where the Rockies scored 12 straight runs with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning against the Cubs, and they literally hit for the cycle that inning, and we were in center field watching it. And then the next night was Carlos Gonzalez's walk-off home run to complete the cycle.
Jeez, what a game to be at!
Yeah, I was above the Rockies bullpen during that game, so it almost literally went right over my head. And it was Jason Giambi T-shirt giveaway day, and so everybody had their white T-shirts out and just were going nuts. And I had all kinds of Cubs fans around me, and I was doing a little celebrating.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to. And when I think of, I think that game is one of the top 5 moments in Rockies history, pretty easily, to be honest.
Yeah.
When I think of the moment, the first thing that comes to mind is the white vests. Like, that is the game that I always think of.
Yep.
Those jerseys, just because of Cargo repping it as he crossed home plate. Like, do you think those should come back in the Rockies uniform rotation?
I would definitely might buy one.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to see what they go with their next City Connect jerseys.
I was just gonna say that. Like, you have to bring it. It has to be a vest, right? At this point, it has to be a vest.
I am rooting for one, and look, I hope that it's either they bring a black uniform back, because the black with just the purple and white undertones really work well.
Yeah.
Or if they go the Colorado State route, they had some statement uniforms this year for football, and it's like the Colorado State flag, like, entirely on the uniform. I think they could do really cool things with that. But it'll be interesting because they went away from the green that worked so well for them for a couple of years.
Yeah, I did like the City Connects, honestly. Yeah, it's got to be a vest. So thank you, Mike. No, Hunter Goodman played 12 games at catcher, 19 as a DH first base outfield. So more than half, roughly 40% of his games were at catcher. That's with Willie Mack down there, kind of leading the charge in AAA last year. In his MILB career, only 80 games have been at catcher, but he was also being taught how to play the outfield and first base as soon as he got called up. So catching really wasn't in his future when he got drafted. It really wasn't until like this past year that they started thinking about catcher being more into it. Dude, man, also rakes when he is catching. So 12 of 31 games as catcher when he got sent down. So maybe that was them working on him doing it. I don't know. I don't know. None of us know. Buddy's gonna buddy though. It's gonna be okay. All right, next topic, and we have 2 more going. So this one, and then the letter from Buddy. Which player from the 24 draft class do you think will have the quickest impact on the major league squad? Not saying debuting this year, not saying anything like that, but we had a pretty nice draft class. You got Brody Brecht, you got Tyler Lewis, you got Jared Thomas, Charlie Condon. Pretty stacked class that all have potential to make a major league impact. We're going to start with you, Brian, guest of the pod. Who of this class has that? Who is going to make that quickest impact for the Colorado Rockies in Coors Field?
I think the popular vote would probably be Charlie Condon, but going through everybody's rundown of the draft, I think it might be Connor Eaton. the six rounder out of George Mason. I think he could possibly go the Halverson route and just pump gas and then go to a couple levels just this next year.
Yeah, Connor Eaton has a nice little mix of stuff there, and I think he pitched in Fresno last year. So he has some of that pro taste. So I like that pick. Noah, what do you think?
I think Brody Brecht, friend of the pod, you got to talk to him. Dude's, he just has the right mentality right from the start. And dude just throws gas and he says, I'm going to throw my fastball right down, I'll throw it down the middle. If you can hit it, good luck. I think he's got all that wipeout slider too. He has Chase Dollander level stuff. It's all about harnessing command. And, we talked about it earlier, like pitching is as mental as any position in all of sports.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get on that one of those confidence rolls with him, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think he might have more upside. I'm saying it say it now, something crazy. I think he has more upside than Charlie Condon going into the full future of the Colorado Rockies. I think he has top starting rotation ability in him where he can sneak in there. Yeah. See, thank you, Cade's brother. Thank you, Colin. Eaton was in Spokane at the very end last year. So yeah, I know he played with Fresno and then he ended up in Spokane. I think he might even pitch in that playoff game actually. So thank you for that. Yeah, they obviously see something in there. I think Brody Brecht, it's going to be interesting to see what they do him. So is he starting in Fresno, Noah, or is he going to jump and get to Spokane, Hartford by the end of the year?
Oh, by the end of the year, I think so. He'll at least make a jump, but he'll probably start. He'll probably start down there.
You think Spokane?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they should just skip him past Fresno.
Yeah, I like how they're playing him like they did with Dollander. They just kind of let him rest and throw at the complex at the end of last year, and I think he'll probably start in Spokane just like Dollander. And I Charlie Condon had a long year last year, and I think he his battle pick up after a nice long off season and not getting ready for another college baseball season as early as January.
Yeah, 100%. And I know he was working on some swing things. I know they were working on some mechanic stuff with him when they drafted him. And I know they were thinking about some of that stuff with Brecht when they called him up. I think he even mentioned it in the Painter session there. Go back and find that on our YouTube channel and subscribe while you are there. But Brody Brecht, I think, has that there. My low-key cat, I've been high on him for a while, is LeBaron Johnson out of Texas. Numbers are terrible. Like, you don't look at the numbers and go, oh, that's the guy. But I think it's just the fact that the Rockies seem to be loaded with relief arms, and LeBaron throwing 95 average, 90 can hit 98, has a sick changeup that goes along with it. Just the whiff rates was around 40% with it. Like, there's just so much about his game that I think can be honed in and just charged to working through the system quickly. I see an Evan Justice type trajectory for LeBaron. Like, I think he goes quickly through 2-3 levels next year, and he's knocking on the door in 2026, and he can join that Blake Street bullpen pretty quickly.
I think anytime that you draft a senior pitcher out of college, and he went in the 5th round, signed exactly at slot value.
Yeah.
I think the Rockies, when you see that, they have a pretty definitive plan for a guy like that. So I like that as a hot take. I think you might have to put that one in your hot take for next year's season.
There's like 5 of them happening tonight. Hopefully Mike's keeping track of what's happening. He's not. Cody Olson makes a great point here in the YouTube chat. Thank you for hanging out with us, Cody. If it's not Condon, Rockies fans might lose their mind. They've already lost their mind because they're still Rockies fans. But if Condon isn't what we think he needs to be, it might go down. Like, it might be riot time, and it's going to be all of the Colorado Rockies' fault. It's going to be terrible.
it'd be borderline the Rockies franchise is cursed if somehow Condon didn't pan out, just because Condon's like the most polished college hitter of all time, right? Like I would be shocked. And I think, like Brian said, he just had one hell of a long year, a lot of ups and downs emotionally. I mean, you get drafted, go to a whole new city, cross country, going from Georgia to Spokane. He'll bounce back. He'll be perfectly fine.
And dropping all those bombs that he did, and then just grinding through the SEC conferences is a lot mentally and physically.
And you're seeing some pretty solid arms in the Northwest League at that point, right? Like you're seeing the best of the single A and low A, high A, like all that's right there, ready for playoff push right there. Yeah. Like Colin says, Colin was pressing last year. He'll be fine. You can see it in some of the at-bats too. Like if you're watching Spokane Indian games, which you can now on MLB.tv, like you have the MILB package with there. You can definitely see that pressing was there and trying to make some noise with it. He'll slow down. He'll be all right. I think we're going to be fine with Charlie Condon. But Cody, you're not wrong. If it doesn't pan out, shit's about to go down. What do we got now? We the letter. We got a letter. But before we get to that, Brian, who is your favorite player of all time? We we should be putting the puzzle pieces together for that. But explain your love for Cargo.
My love for Cargo is I've grown up being an outfielder at heart. I've played some infield, but I've always been an outfielder. I've always put a precedence on defense, and Cargo. I loved watching him play in the outfield, throwing guys out at second base, third base, home plate, just giving up his body out in the outfield and making those plays and being able to extend a single into a double and be able to hit a walk-off home run to complete the cycle. But I've always just been loving outfilders, and my favorite non-Rocky is Torrey Hunter, and he's got a few gold gloves too, and being able to jump the fence and rob a home run. It's just a euphoria. And I did get I got to play in the Northwest Regional when I was in Babe Ruth, and we got to play a team from Beaverton, Oregon, and I threw a guy out at home plate, and the third base coach just stood there in awe, and he couldn't believe what I just did. And the same exact situation came up towards the end, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw the third base coach throwing up the stop signal, like it was there was a fire at home plate, and I just threw a lollipop throw back into the infield, and I just turned around and gave myself a fist pump, and it was one of my favorite playing moments of all time.
Yeah. When you earn that respect by playing like that, and they recognize that's always a good feeling. I love that. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, Cargo swing, man. Like it's like, who was it? It was one of the big dogs on the Twitter mentioned like lefty swings of all time is Griffey and Cargo. Like it's 1A, 1B, and I think it's right. Like 100%.
I wouldn't argue that.
No, it was so pretty. I miss that swing. I miss Cargo. It was kind of sad seeing him kind of like trying to find a team to latch onto at the end. I want to hit the sunset ride. Some players that you just want to, like Charlie Blackmon, like you just like, all right, you don't need to go chase it. Where it kind of felt like that with Cargo. It made me a little sad. But let's end it here with the letter. So Rockies love to send season ticket holders letters. It's usually from the front office, from Mr. Dick Monfort, usually the one sending it. But this year they threw a curveball to everybody, and Buddy wrote it, or at least signed it. You've all read it. If you're listening, go find it on the Twitter. Love the Rocks, who's a good Twitter follow. She does a lot of giveaways. I think is really just a good person. A lot of bobbleheads being given out by her. But she posts all these kind of things. What is your initial reaction from it? Some of the discourse is a little like, oh, this is the Rockies being the Rockies, but is it really? I guess just what is your kind of initial reactions of the letter?
I mean, I have no problems with it. A lot of front office, like it's no guarantee that a front office would do this, and it says Bud wrote it. I mean, a manager does not have to do this. I think that he's gonna, fans on social media are going to read like I'm more confident about 2025 than I've been since our back-to-back postseason seasons of 2017 and 18. They're gonna be like, oh well, what else would he say? I mean, exactly. I mean, what else would he say? I think I like that he goes on to talk about the top prospects, Dollander, Palmquist, and Sully. I think it shows the attention to the farm system that the Rockies have. And I mean, was it really going to be Monfort putting it out this season? I don't think so. I have no issues with it. We don't know how many more seasons Bud will manage the team, and the fact that he's coming back for this next one might have pushed the Rockies to have him write it, I think. But
Hey,
I mean, I
sign this contract, write the letter.
Yeah, I don't see the point in getting upset over it on social media.
Brian?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Noah on that. I think he might be onto something, that we might have the pieces to make a little bit of a run towards at least a 500 record this year, with the building of our arm barn and bullpen. And if we could get 4 or 5 guys to hit 20 home runs next year, I think we can definitely win a few more games. Yeah,
agreed. Do you feel any slight that Ryan McMahon, your friend, your buddy, wasn't mentioned in the letter? You a little mad about that?
I'm surprised because they included Tovar and Doyle. I guess they both won Gold Gloves, and Matt got the All-Star nod, so he gets a pass.
I love it, but I think I appreciate Bud Black mentioning the 3 young starters, that the triple head monster that we've been talking about for the last few years over here at Blake Street Banter. I found it interesting that he mentioned Nolan Jones and Michael Toglia specifically to add to the core group of guys. Not like a Jordan Beck, not a Ryan McMahon, not a Adel Amador, Ryan Ritter, like coming up. Like, is that the writing on the wall for B-Rod to be traded, to be moved? I don't know. I found that a little interesting. That's me looking for something for good podcast content, I think. But like you both said, there's zero reason to be upset about this letter. It's just a letter that was sent out, and it would be weird that if he didn't say these things. I think I'd be more upset like if he said, you know what, we're going to come out, we're going to win 115 games because we didn't sign anybody, didn't do anything. Like, he seems very realistic in the letter, which I think I like. And he's emphasizing the fact that they're going to go young in 2025 with the 3-headed monster that is, and then leaning in on Michael Tolia's sophomore year, having Nolan Jones come back from a bounce back year. So injury list. So like, I think I appreciate that from Bud Black. I know I've been dogging on him all pod, but like that letter, I get it. Not upset about it. I don't think I really have any feelings towards it.
No, and let's not forget that the Rockies were clowned aggressively just a couple seasons ago when someone in the front office said, I think we can go 500 this season. Like,
yeah, that was Mr. Dick. Yeah. Let's see. You guys want to do something? You want to do something fun real quick?
Oh no.
Just want to go to the Reddit. Let's see. My thoughts are, despite his optimism, the Rockies are more than a year away from being competitive. I'd be surprised if they don't lose 95 plus year. Realistic goal would be just to avoid 100 losses. Doesn't say anything about a letter. Decent letter, in my opinion, particularly since we've never seen one from Bud. Seems like an honest take without blowing too much smoke. Okay, Reddit, what's wrong with you? Here, at least he didn't try and dishonestly sell us on Chris Bryant. Forget a championship, I would hang a banner for 3rd in the NL West at this point. Admittedly, I don't follow enough teams to know for a fact that their owners don't have a personal beginning of the season ticket holders to stick around, but I don't think it's a good sign. I don't think this is a begging of the season ticket holders. I like the overall message of the letter, but it's nothing more than lip service until the product and field proves otherwise.
And
so Reddit's actually not terrible.
Yeah. And I mean, like Christian said in our chat, it comes back to they didn't have to do this, and they did. The Rockies are more than aware of what these past several seasons have been. And, there's no point in ignoring it or trying to persuade the fans to think that it wasn't all that bad. Like, they're acknowledging it, moving forward, and it's forward looking, which is what it has to be.
Right. Yeah. Anything else would just be a lie to all of us. Absolutely. Reading Reddit should be a new series. You might be onto something. All right, Brian, one last question for you before we get out of here. You liked the question on the crossover podcast with Christian at the DMVR and not Hunter Henry. Fantasy football is kicking my ass right now. What's his name? Why am I blanking on him?
Hunter Goodman?
Who joined us on DMVR? Kevin Henry. I am sorry. That was terrible. It's late night. But you like to, if you could add anybody from any other team to the Rockies for the next 10 years, who would it be? We pretty much all agreed Paul Skeens, but I believe you have a different answer.
Yeah, my guy would definitely be Adley Rutschman, because he's kind of been the brains of this Orioles rebuild, and it's just fun watching him enjoy catching and seeing his excitement after every close save with Felix Bautista, not last year but the year before. It's just something different, and I think I really don't know behind the scenes if he's really much of a rah-rah guy, or if he's just kind of he's just a guy that just studies everybody and just knows how to set the tone during the game. And he's definitely built some of those Orioles pitchers to be where they need to be. And they had a bad rash of injuries last year, and then that kind of slowed him down. But Adley was just right there, and he doesn't have a lot of pop, but he's got some pop. He's a doubles machine, and he'll bat anywhere in the lineup, and he'll definitely contribute to the team.
Yeah, I like that answer a lot. I think is he a Rocky? Is he the Rockies catcher? Drew Romo and Adley Rutschman at the end of 2025? I don't know. Could be fun. Could be interesting. Appreciate you all listening. Appreciate you all hanging out. If you are not following us on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the Blue Sky, I have no idea what our name is on there, but we're on the sky. We're in the sky. But more importantly, if you can go find our YouTube and subscribe and comments and all that, that'd be great. Who knows what all these other socials are going to turn into, but you know that YouTube will always be around. So go find us on there. Go support us on that. A lot of banter sessions. You can go back. I just saw, the socials do the memory. We had our very first interview with Matt Replinger, who was a writer of a Colorado baseball history book. We had that first interview 4 years ago with him. So that's where BSB has come, and you can look at those stupid logo that we had created. We thought it was badass when we made it, and it still is badass. It's a little retro there, but just a little callback there. So the YouTube is the place to find all of that and see how we've grown along with that. So go ahead and follow us on there. But before we get out of here, a quick ad read from our card loving Grant Hankins, and then we'll send you off into the abyss, into the off season. As always, go Rocks. Woo! And last but not least, thank you to Grant Hankins for donating all the cards and being an OG BSB listener and follower. Go ahead and give Grant Hankins a follow, and maybe you'll just be entered into our card giveaway next time for following Grant at GHankins25. GHANKINS 25. Thank you, Grant. Thank you for watching and listening. Please check out our link tree for more content. Thank you for watching and listening. Please check out our link tree for more content.